All right. Well, you're tuning in to Financial Fitness Northwest live on 1150 KKNW. We're here to help you navigate the mortgage and real estate market with expert advice from knowledgeable and trustworthy industry professionals. And right now, we're in studio with Jackie Ramirez, a real estate agent with Windermere Real Estate East. Her real estate career is objective is to provide platinum professional service when representing her clients. She has been a real estate agent in the greater Seattle and Eastside area since 2003 and works with buyers, sellers, builders, and investors. So welcome, Jackie.
Welcome, Jackie. Glad to have you.
Thank you, ladies, for having me.
We're so excited to have you. You're going to be talking with us about the difference between new construction versus resale, right?
Yep.
Which I feel is a really good topic, too, because there's more and more new construction now.
Yeah,
right?
finally. We're finally seeing some new builds in the area, which has been kind of lacking there from the downturn.
Yeah,
so,
it's been a couple years. All those like empty, sad little plats right?
They're now spring fresh.
They are, with beautiful homes on them. So do you want to share with us about your career? Like when did you get started in real estate and how did you begin?
Sure. I started in 2003 and I was with a different brokerage at the time before Windermere. And I started kind of my resale business just right out of the gate. Did not start in new construction. Just did, open houses, first-time home buyers seminars. It was actually a really great time to be in the industry just because we weren't quite seeing the big, huge multiple offers in the crazy subprime area. But just kind of got my feet wet then. Worked with a mentor. Did a bunch of branding, things like that, got that moving. And then I just had an opportunity from a friend of mine who had been invited to do a plat and here in the East Side area. And she asked me if I would be her buyer's agent. And I didn't know much about it, was a little thrown, but thought, yeah, this is, a great opportunity. I cannot turn it down. So I started and loved it, loved everything about it. Representing the buyers on that. It was a national builder, so it was a little bit different concept than what I'm doing currently. But she didn't so much like it on the listing side. Oh. So after that, I just took over, and I was like, I really enjoyed it.
Wow. Found your niche.
I did.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So as far as your career now, what kind of mix of your business is new construction versus resale?
Right now, it's probably about 50-50 just because all my builders are in land development right now.
Oh, yeah.
So they're busy doing their stuff, so not a lot of product to sell. So I'm working with a lot of my resale buyers. I have been very, very fortunate to be able to keep my resale side of business. Sometimes builders only want you to be in-house and work for them specifically.
Right.
But I have been really, really, like I said, very fortunate to work and to be able to keep that side of my business and kind of that be my bread and butter type of business. It's very, it's a very personal relationship when you're working with resale and different when you're working with the builders. So
yeah, I know. So I know what you're saying because I know you work with Tareen, who is my husband is actually the construction manager there, and I know they are just going crazy on the construction side, but not a lot of homes up and ready to list at this point. And you work with them, so those will be coming down the pike here at the end of the year, right?
Super excited. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great product. So
yeah.
So do you generally work with? Because I know Tareen, they do smaller plats, right? They don't have they're not huge. Like you said, you used to work with a national builder before. So is that kind of who you're working with now? Is it smaller builders like that, or?
Right. Yeah. I'm working mostly with local builders.
Local.
So they don't have huge plats like a Toll Brothers or a D.R. Horton who have 40 plus homes in one plat. But we're more on the 8 to 10. Sometimes, we've got some things that are over in Bellevue, Kirkland area, and sometimes it's just a lot. It's just an infill lot, and we're going in and tearing down what's there, building a big, beautiful, brand new home there. And so it just kind of depends on where they are, what their niche is, what kind of land that they can get their hands on.
They can find.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a lot more of that spot building going on, even with some of the bigger builders, the nationals too, right? Just because land, there's only so much land, right?
Right.
And people want to be close to the city, so
right.
I don't want to go so far out that it doesn't put them in the good location.
Yeah, that's where you see a lot of the eclectic kind of neighborhoods too, especially when you're looking like in West Bellevue, even Kirkland area too, and much more so on the Seattle side as well, because everything's just kind of infill and there's a
Right.
lot that's going to sell, and they just build a big, beautiful home there. But then there's a little,
Cottage next
A cottage next to
door.
a mansion. Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you mainly focus your business then on the east side in Seattle? Is that, or do you go down south? Where are you?
Yeah, I go pretty much everywhere. I always say, have license, will travel. And I represent my clients wherever they need me to go. So I will, especially on the resale side and the builder side as well. I will go everywhere. When I start getting, too far north or too far south, then those are areas I'm not super familiar with. So I will usually bring in somebody that has been recommended to me that knows those areas, and we'll either co-list together or help a buyer together or something like that, or I'll just turn them over to them and make sure that the client's getting the best of what they need.
Right.
Yeah. So as far as the builder relationship, I mean, how involved are you? I mean, are you involved from like when they're deciding what type of home to put on a lot or what kind of finishes? Or, I mean, do you counsel on what you think is going to be best for a specific area?
Yeah, great question. So I've had the experience of doing both. Sometimes the builder will just bring me in to do the listing side of it. They've already done the floor plans. They've already worked with the architect. They're just wanting me to, and they're going to do the staging and everything. And they just want me to list them, market them, photography, all that kind of stuff. And then I've also worked with other builders where I'm out there in my boots and we're walking land and we're trying to find a good spot, and then, we're making offers, and I've gone door knocking and to find, to talk to people. Are you interested in selling? And that's always interesting in itself. There's some people that are very friendly and some that are not so friendly.
The ones that have no soliciting on their door.
Yeah, no, I would stay away.
And the barking dog in the window.
Exactly, yeah, a little intimidating. But I've had a great experience in doing that as well, and just being able to, and again, just starting and helping with that. So I've helped them find architects for their floor plans and their drawings. I've helped them find, their stagers, their photographers. I'm helping doing some of the staging. I mean, I've kind of been ground up with a couple of builders as well. So it just kind of depends on what your builder is looking for, what their aspects are. So, like, again, some of them have their stuff already prepared and ready to go, and they're just bringing you in to list.
I would think it would be pretty cool to
think it'd
be
be
kind of
fun,
on
too.
the ground up,
Yeah.
because then when you're ready to list that house, I mean, you really know everything about that house, and I would think you could sell from a much stronger position of.
Yeah, I love that part of it. It's really interesting. It was when I first started it, and it was a particular builder who was a friend of ours, and he was just he was very intense about it, and so I learned a lot. It was really, really amazing. But you're working with the numbers, the pro forma forms, as far as, okay, if we buy this land, and how much is it going to take to build the product? What is our bottom line going to be? Are we going to make a profit, or are we going to lose? So lots of different ins and outs of the business that I learned, and I'm really very grateful that I got to experience that. And I'm always still currently finding land for builders, just always out there, just looking and searching and talking to people. And I do door knocking a little bit, not quite as I used to.
Yeah. How do you balance, so if you're doing resale and construction, new construction, how do you kind of balance both your businesses?
So in the new construction, it depends on if there's a model home and if your builder wants you to be on site in those model homes. And if you're on site 7 days a week, then typically at that point you're bringing in a team. So you're not always on site every single day by yourself. You're bringing in maybe a buyer's agent or a couple buyer's agents. And then, you're switching your times up and your days up. So it gives you some flexibility, and to always have my resale business as well. So if I'm on site, then I will, show a client in the morning, or, list a client in the morning and then go to site, and then, or maybe in the evening type situation. So just trying to balance it that way. But having a team helps the situation as well. So to make sure that everybody's covered. And
So when a client comes to you, do you present the option of buying resale or new construction? Do they already know what they want generally? I mean, how do you advise on, like, I mean, what's the best way for them to go?
It just kind of depends on what their needs and wants are. And it just depends on where they're looking, if there is new construction in their area, if they want something new, if they want a resale. I mean, there's so many different aspects of when a buyer is looking, and you wear many hats as well. So if they're wanting new construction, then you're showing them just new construction. But a lot of my clients typically don't know if they want new construction or if they want a resale until we actually physically get out there and are looking. And especially, in this market where it's crazy and you don't know, okay, that house is there, but it's going to be gone in 3 days. So maybe a new construction route is the way to go because there's more lots available, have a little bit more time to not have to feel like I'm in a rush to make an offer on something. And then it also just depends on if they want specific neighborhoods, if there is new construction in that neighborhood, just kind of feeling them out, seeing what is most important to them.
That's a good point. I actually have a buyer right now that only wants new construction. And his reasoning is because he feels it's not as competitive. Right. Is that the case? I mean, he's like, I keep losing. I don't want to go up and be in that crazy resale market. I'm only going to buy new construction because, I mean, you're most likely, they're just going to accept your offer. You're not up against a whole bunch of other offers, right? They just take the first offer. Is that generally?
Well, sometimes. I mean, I've been in situations where you're still in multiple offer situations with new construction. The nice thing about new construction, though, is if you're talking about a plat, that, okay, they might have their mindset on this particular home, but that home might be on a different lot. So then you're kind of just giving them the options to, okay, that you love this home. Can we put this home on this lot? Will you love it as much? Or can we, work around a few things? And, if it's a pre-sale situation, do you get the opportunity to do a little customization type things that would make it the perfect home for you? So, yeah, if people are having a struggle finding homes, sometimes new construction is the way to go. If it is an area where there are more than just one or two homes to choose from.
I mean, are they having the escalating clause issue like you're having in resale? I feel like it's not so much in new construction, or
not so much in new construction. If you're in an area where there's others to choose from, if you're in an area where there's just one or two homes, 3 or 4 homes, and you don't have a lot of inventory, and also if it's
really
school,
desirable.
School based or whatever the situation is, a very desirable area, then you may have the escalation clauses and things like that are going on.
So I guess what I hear you saying is there's not that much difference between resale and new construction. It's really kind of comes down to geography and just what kind of demand is in that particular area that they're looking.
Correct. And then just basically what the client's wants or needs are. There's lots of different, there's warranties with new construction. You're getting the builder warranty, you're getting the state warranty, things like that. When you're building resale, you're not necessarily getting those warranties. You'll have your opportunity to do inspections and things like that. But, some people feel more comfortable knowing that they've got that warranty to fall back on if something were to go wrong. So sometimes that's a major component for some people, is just knowing that, okay, if I go with new construction, I've got this opportunity that I know if something goes wrong, I'm warranted.
Yeah, especially if they're not like Mr. Handyman, right? And don't want to have to fix a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
So you obviously have done this a long time and you've learned a lot. I mean, if someone is looking for new construction, going with you, Jackie, they're going to be much further ahead than just another agent that maybe hasn't dealt with new construction, because I'm sure you probably are in the know, right, about like even what's coming out that might not be on the market yet. And
right, yeah, I do focus a lot on new construction, and that is kind of a niche that I've kind of created for myself. Is I do like knowing what's going to come up that people might not know about. It's tricky. And then
should talk later.
and yeah, just knowing when you're walking into a home, especially if I just had this experience the other night where the people are relocating here. They're looking for new construction. There was a model home they fell in love with. Well, it had already sold, but there were 3 other homes to look at, and so they decided that they wanted to look at the other homes. Well, the other homes were being constructed, so you couldn't really see what it was all about. And sometimes my knowledge is extremely helpful to them, but sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if that's the way I would have done it. And so then they like the fact that I'm giving them that knowledge that they might not be getting from somebody else. So,
yeah, and having seen construction underway, you probably can be sort of a visionary for them as far as figuring out what this is really going to look like when it's done. If they're looking at a house that's not yet complete, some people aren't really good at figuring out what that's going to be like, right?
Right, and some people want to know, they want to compare one builder to another builder, and how does this builder build compared to the other builder, and what is their forte over here, and so it's great knowledge to have, and I'm very happy and lucky to be able to share it with everyone.
Wow. Yeah, I think that is really good because, I mean, most agents aren't going to know the difference between builders. I mean, there's not a lot of agents that really focus on, new construction business in this market.
Mm-hmm. Especially, there's agents that, like you said before, working with the nationals, they're like, and sometimes they're even employed by the builder, right? They have an in-house real estate company, but being a independent agent with all the knowledge of a lot of different builders, I think that puts you in a really strong position to help someone.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I've really tried to stay. I've had the opportunity to go in with the national builders, and I really kind of like my niche where I'm able to kind of stay with my local guys and have that ability to know some off-market things and abilities of knowing what is coming up but also be able to sell the big national guys as well. I mean, of course, I've sold Toll Brothers and D.R. Horton and many of the other ones.
Right. Well, gosh, thank you so much for coming in studio. That was such great information about the differences, and I think we might need to chat a little bit later.
Yeah, and I think if there's builders out there, small builders, and you need an awesome agent, you should call Jackie because she's fantastic. She's got it figured out.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, gosh, it's our pleasure. Thank you for tuning into Financial Fitness Northwest. When we come back, we were going to have the Riley Johnson team market update. Today, we're going to touch on what options you have to buy if you don't have 20% saved for a down payment, and what the statistics say.
You got it.
Whoa.
You got it, girl.
I got it. About first-time home buyers. Okay, so to find out about all that fascinating information and any topics discussed on today's show, you can find us online at www.financialfitnessnw.com.